Hello everybody, this is the second video on propositional logic, and in this video we will be doing some more connectives and some laws that are used in propositional logic. So this is the fourth logical connective that we are doing. P implies Q. We can also write it as like this with a single arrow. So what does it say? It says that if P and Q are two propositions and we say that P implies Q, it means that if P is true, then Q must also be true. There are other ways of reading it also. Let's see them. So these are the other 5 ways which means the same. Let's look into the truth table of P implies Q. As you can see over here, this row I have highlighted, I've emphasized on this row, which is the only condition of false. What does it say? Remember, we are saying P implies Q. So it is if P, then Q must also be true. So here you see that P is true but Q is false. So this is not allowed in P implication logical connective. See, in the other cases, that means these combinations are allowed or possible, but this one is not possible. Why? See, if P then Q, so this is as simple as that. If P is happening, Q is also happening. But it can be that P is not happening but true is also happening. That is also allowed. We'll see through an example. And the other is very simple. If P is not true, then Q is also not true. But P is true but Q is not true is not a possible combination. You must also keep in mind over here that not only because we say that it is true, false, false is a guideline to remember the truth table of this logical connective, you must also keep in mind that this connective P implies Q is true when either the premise is false or the consequence is true. Which is the premise? In P implies Q, P is the premise and Q is the consequence or the consequent, we say. So either P is false or Q is true. These are the conditions when P implies Q can be true, otherwise it is. Let's take this example. P is a proposition which says I will fall into the well, and Q is a proposition which says I will get wet. So what are the different ways of saying P implies Q? Let's talk in terms of these two propositions. The first one says if P then Q, that is if I fall into the well, then I will get wet. So this is a true combination, it's a possible combination. Q if P, Q is happening if P is there. So I will get wet if I fall into the well. This is also a possible combination. Okay. P is a sufficient condition for Q. Falling into the well is sufficient for me to get wet. This is also possible. Q follows P, that is I am getting wet. This event is following which event? I am falling into the well. So these are the 4 true combinations. Let's check the false combination, that is P implies Q is false. When is it so? When P is true but Q is false, that is I am falling into the well but I am not getting wet. This is a false proposition. This is a false combination. So I hope P implies Q is clear enough. Don't go by just the notion that you learn the truth table, that true, false, false is the key to learn the truth table of P implies Q. You should be convinced enough that why is it so. Now let's go to the mathematical interpretation of P implies Q. This is the mathematical interpretation. Let's see the truth table. P implies Q. So true will be true, true false will be false, false true is true, and false false is also true. What is not P? Not P, this is false, this is false, this is true, this is true. And what is not P or Q? This is not P and this is or Q. So this is true, this is false. True, true will give you a true, and false, true will give you a true. So can you see that this and root column and this column is identical? So that means they are equal. The next logical connective is logical equivalence. It is denoted by this symbol and it can also be written in this way. So what does it say? It says that if P is equivalent to Q, means P if and only if Q, or we write it P IFF Q. IFF is the short form for if and only if. It also means that if P implies Q, then Q also implies P, or either both are there or none are there. So what do we derive? That P equivalent to Q is true when both the propositions have the same identical truth values. Let's see the truth table of P equivalent to Q. In the first row you can see that both the propositions have the same truth value, so that's it's true. Last row also they have the same truth value, which is false, but the proposition is true. In the other two cases, one proposition is true and the other is false, so these are false combinations for P equivalence to Q. Let's take an example. Let us take two propositions P and Q, where P is triangle ABC is right angled at B, and Q is AB square plus BC square is equals to AC square. Now P equivalent to Q means P implies Q and Q implies P. So let's first say that P implies Q, that is if ABC is right angled at B, it implies that ABC square plus BC square is equals to AC square. So we know that. It's a very common theorem, it's the Pythagoras theorem. But if we, so this is implying this. The other way is also the statement will be true. That is, if I say that AB square plus BC square is equals to AC square, it implies that ABC is a right angle triangle and right angled at B. So this is how we use this logical connective. Let's see the logical expression of P equivalent to Q. It is actually the expression for NOR gate. Now I have kept it solved because this is very simple. We have already got this in the previous truth tables, and this is simple OR and AND. So you can go through this truth table once and see if you can solve it on your own. You can see over here that these two columns are identical. So that is, they have the same truth values for all the combinations of P and Q. So hence we can conclude that this is the logical expression of P equivalence Q. Now let us come to tautology. What is tautology? Tautology is a formula or assertion that is true in every possible interpretation. So these are the possible interpretations if we have two propositional variables, true, 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 false, false, true, false, false. Now let us derive the truth values of this column. Okay, so X and Y, that is, this is the conjunction. So this is true, this is false, this is false, this is also false. This is the disjunction or. So I can say true, true, true. and this is false. Now see, this is implies. So let's see, where do we have true, false, false? We don't have any combination of. So this is the premise and this is the consequence. So we can say we don't have a true, false, false combination. So we don't have false in this column, so all are true. So with two proposition variables, all under all interpretations or all combinations of x and y, this is always true. So I can say that this expression or this formula is a tautology. Let's come to contradiction. Contradiction is always false. It is a formula or assertion that is false in every possible interpretation. We have two propositions, P and Q, and these are the different interpretations of or combinations of P and Q that can be possible. So let's, P implies Q means we have a true false condition, so this will be false and the others will be true. Not P implies Q is just the opposite. Q and this one, so Q, this column and this column, that is conjunction of these two columns. So false, 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 false. So you can see in this column we have all false values, that is under no interpretation of P and Q can this formula be true. So this is always false or a midway between tautology and contradiction is contingency. That is, it is a logical form that can either be true or false depending on what truth values the variables have. So what are the two propositional variables we have? A and B, and these are the different possible combinations of A and B. So these are the four different interpretations of the situation. So this is conjunction. So when both are true we get a true, and otherwise we get a false. So you see that in this logical expression we have a true combination, truth value, and we have false also. So it's a mixture of true and false, then it becomes a contingency. Every conditional statement will have an inverse, a converse and a contrapositive. Let's see how to derive them. Let's take the conditional statement P implies Q. Then the inverse will be the negation of the antecedent and the consequence. So here the antecedent is P and the consequence is Q. So the inverse will be not P implies not Q. The converse will be obtained by exchanging or swapping the antecedent and the consequence. So it will become Q implies P, and the contrapositive will be the inverse of the converse. Or if you try to derive it from the original conditional statement, it will be both swapping and negation. So it will be not Q and not implies not P. Let's see an example. Suppose the original conditional statement is if a number is divisible by 6, then it is divisible by 3. You know it very well. The divisibility test of 6 is it should be divisible by 3 as well as by 2. So this statement is true. So what will be the inverse? The inverse is if a number is not divisible by 6, then it is not divisible by 3. Now this is the statement of the inverse, but so it is not necessary that it will be true. In this case the inverse is false, because there are many numbers which is not divisible by 6 but it is divisible by 3, for example 21. Now let's see the converse. The converse says if a number is divisible by 3, then it is divisible by 6. This is again a false statement, because you have 15, you have 21, you have these are the two examples I can give you. With these numbers are divisible by 3 but they are not divisible by 6. And last we have the contrapositive, which says that if a number is not divisible by 3, then it is not divisible by 6. Now this is true. In this case you can see the original statement is true and the contrapositive is true, but the inverse and converse of the statement is false. I can give you one more example. in mathematics you will have done so many theorems, and when you learn the theorem you also learn the converse of those theorems. For example, the Pythagoras theorem. In the Pythagoras theorem you can say that if a triangle ABC is right angled at B, then AB square plus BC square will be equal to AC square, the example that we used before. Then the inverse will be that if it is not a right angle triangle at B, then it will not be that equation will be false. So in the inverse is true. The converse is also true, that if AB square plus BC square is equals to AC square, then it is a right angle triangle at B. So in this example you can see that the converse and inverse is true. There are other many examples. You can take a few examples on your own and you can try them out. Next we have the chain rule or hypothetical syllogism. Given the premise P implies Q and Q implies R, it can be concluded that P implies R. Or we can write in this expression, or further putting the proper notations, the final expression of this chain rule will be P implies Q and Q implies R. We have P implies R. So suppose we take P is I live in Kolkata, and Q is I live in West Bengal, and R means I live in India. So P implies Q will be, if I live in Kolkata, then I live in West Bengal. So this is Kolkata and this is West Bengal. Q implies R will be, if I live in West Bengal, I live in India. So if I have both of these, if both are true, then this will also be true, that is, if I live in Kolkata, then I live in India. This is how it is inferred. And why it is called a chain rule? Because we are eliminating the intermediate proposition and we are just connecting, like a chain interconnection. So that's why it's called a chain rule. Let's move forward to a rule of inference, modus ponens, or the method of affirming. In this rule, you will be given two premises P1 and P2. It states that if the conditional statement P implies Q is accepted or is true and P holds or is true at the moment, then the conclusion is the consequence. Let's see an example. Let's the first premise be, if you are in West Bengal, then you are in India. In this conditional statement, the antecedent is you are in West Bengal and the consequence is you are in India, and P2 holds, P2 is the premise and P holds that you are in West Bengal, then the conclusion is you are in India. Next we have two important laws, law of excluded middle and law of contradiction. The law of excluded middle states that there is nothing in between the true and false, that if a proposition is either true or false, there is no state that is in between them. So either it is 0 or it is 1, it is raining or it is not raining, I am going to school or I am not going to school. So these are some possible true situations, but you cannot say it is raining and it is not raining, I am going to school and I am not going to school. So then it becomes a contradiction, or the which is governed by the law of contradiction. It says P and not P is a false situation. With this we come to the end of this video, and in the next video I will be dealing with identities and some applications of propositional logic. Thank you.